Hello everyone, today we will learn 6.6 gains from diversification of risk. It includes 1. Introduction, 2. Diversification, a numerical example and a generalization, 3. Generalizing, 4. Limits to diversification, capital versus labor income, 5. Summary. 1. Introduction, diversification can help smooth shocks by promoting risk sharing. With diversification, countries may be able to reduce the volatility of their incomes and hence their consumption levels without any net lending or borrowing. 2. Diversification, a numerical example and generalization. We consider two countries, A and B, with outputs that fluctuate asymmetrically. There are two possible states of the world, with equal probability of occurring. State 1 is a bad state for A and a good state for B. State 2 is good for A and bad for B. We assume that all output is consumed and that there is no investment or government spending. Output is divided 60-40 between labor income and capital income. Home portfolios. To begin, both countries are closed, and households in each country own the entire capital stock of their own country. Thus, A owns 100% A's capital, and B owns 100% of B's capital. And this assumptions output as measured by gross domestic product, GDP, is the same as income, as measured by gross national income, GNI, in A and B. A numerical example is given in Table 6-6. Panel A. In State 1, S output is 90, of which 54 units are payments to labor and 36 units are payments to capital. In State 2, S output rises to 110, and the VAT payments rise to 66 units for labor and 44 units for capital. The opposite is true in B. In State 1, B's output is higher than it is in State 2. Using our national accounting definitions, we know that in each closed economy, consumption C, income GNI, and the output GDP are equal. In both A and B, all of these quantities are volatile. GNI and hence consumption flips randomly between 90 and 110 in both countries. The variation of GNI about its mean of 100 is plus or minus 10 in each country. Because households prefer smooth consumption, this variation is undesirable. World portfolios. Two countries can achieve partial income smoothing if they diversify their portfolios of capital assets. For example, each country could own half of the domestic capital stock and half of the other country's capital stock. Indeed, this is what standard portfolio theory says that investors should try to do. A numerical example is given in Table 66, Panel B, when each country holds a 50% share of the world portfolio, as in Panel B. In State 1, S income is 94, of which 54 units are gained by labor and 40 units are gained by capital. In State 2, S income rises to 106, and the factor gains rise to 66 units for labor and 14 units for capital. The opposite is true in B. In State 1, B's income is higher than it is in stage 2. Using our national accounting definition, we know that in each economy, income, GNI, and output, GDP, are not equal in both A and B. GNI and hence consumption flips randomly between 94 and 106 in both countries. The variation of GNI about its mean of 100 is plus or minus 6 in each country, compared with home portfolios. This variation is smaller. When each country holds a 50% share of the world portfolio, as in panel B, GNI volatility decreases because capital income is now smoothed. A numerical example is given in table 6-6, panel C, when each country holds a portfolio made up only of the other country's capital, as in panel C. In stage 1, S income is 98, of which 54 units are gained by labor and 44 units are gained by capital. In stage 2, S income rises to 102, and the factor gains rises to 66 units for labor and 36 units for capital. The object is to in B. In stage 1, B's income is higher than it is in stage 2. Using our national accounting definition, we know that in each economy, income, GNI, and output GDP are not equal. In both A and B, GNI and hence consumption flips randomly between 98 and 102 in both countries. The variation of GNI about its mean of 100 is plus or minus 2 in each country. As we can see, this variation is much smaller. When each country holds a portfolio made up only of the other country's capital, as in panel C, GNI volatility falls even further by making capital income vary inversely with labor income. How does the balance of payments work when countries hold the world portfolio? Consider country A in stage 1, bad for A, good for B. A's income or GNI exceeds A's output. The actual income is net fat income from abroad, which is the difference between the income earned on A's external assets and the income paid on A's external liabilities. With that net fat income, country A runs a negative trade balance, which means that A can consume more than it produces. Adding the trade balance of minus 4 to net fat income from abroad of plus 4 means that the current account is 0, and there is still no need for any net borrowing or lending. These flows are reversed in stage 2, good for A, bad for B. Figure 6, this line shows fluctuation in capital income over time for different portfolios based on the data in table 6-6. Countries trade claims to capital income by trading capital assets. When countries hold the world portfolio, they each earn a 50-50 split or average of world capital income. World capital income is constant. Stocks in the two countries are asymmetrical and cancel out. All capital income risk is then fully diversifiable. 3. Generalizing. Let us try to generalize the concept of capital income smoothing through diversification. Each country's payments to capital are volatile. A portfolio of 100% country A's capital or 100% of country B's capital as capital income that varies by plus or minus 4 between 36 and 44, but the 50-50 mix of the two leaves the investor with a portfolio of minimum zero volatility. It always pays 40. In general, there will be some common shocks, which are identical shocks experienced by both countries. In this case, there is no way to avoid this shock by portfolio diversification. But as long as some shocks are asymmetric, the two countries can take advantage of gains from the diversification of risk. In Figure 6-10, the charts plot the volatility of capital income against the share of the portfolio devoted to foreign capital. The two countries are identical in size and experience shocks of similar amplitude. In panel A, shocks are perfectly asymmetric. Correlation equals -1. Capital income in two countries is perfectly negatively correlated. Risk can be eliminated by holding the world portfolios, and there are large gains from diversification. In panel B, shocks are perfectly asymmetric. Correlation equals +1. Capital income in the two countries is perfectly positively correlated. Risk cannot be reduced, and there are no gains from diversification. In panel C, when both types of shocks are present, the correlation is neither perfectly negative nor positive. Risk can be partially eliminated by holding the world portfolio, and there are still some gains from diversification. 4. Limits to diversification: capital versus labor income. Labor income risk and hence GDP risk may not be diversifiable through trading of claims to labor assets or GDP, but the capital and the labor income in each country are perfectly correlated, and the shocks to production tend to risk and the lower incomes of capital and the labor simultaneously. This means that as a risk-sharing device, trading claims to capital income can substitute for trading claims to labor income. 5. Summary: don't put all your eggs in one basket. You can't use were able to borrow and lend without limit and restrictions in an efficient global capital market. They should be able to cope quite well with the array of possible shocks in order to smooth consumption. In reality, as the evidence shows, countries are not able to fully exploit the intertemporal borrowing mechanism. In theory, if countries were able to pool their income streams and take shares from that common pool of income, all country-specific shocks would be averaged out, leaving countries exposed only to common global shocks to income. The sole remaining and there was viable shocks that cannot be avoided. Financial openness allows countries like households to follow the old adage: don't put all your eggs in one basket. In practice, however, risk sharing through asset trading is limited. For one thing, the number of assets is limited. The market for claims to capital income is incomplete because not all capital assets are traded. For example, many firms are privately held and are not listed on stock markets, and trade in labor assets is legally prohibited. Investors have shown very little inclination to invest their wealth outside their own country, although that may be slowly changing in an environment of ongoing financial globalization. Thank you.